On Thursday, the House voted to repeal one of the worst job-killing laws of all. It's called Obamacare. Perhaps you've heard of it.
President Trump, in his weekly address, calling on the Senate to follow the House and pass Republican health care reform. And it's time now for our Sunday group. Fox News senior political analyst Brit Hume, back from Florida. Welcome.
Thank you.
Columnist for The Hill, Juan Williams. Former Democratic Congresswoman Jane Harman, director of the Woodrow Wilson Center, and former House Speaker Newt Gingrich. Well, we ask you for questions for the panel, and it's clear Democrats are already making headway on this argument that the House bill is going to hit older Americans. Susan Lloyd Farrell sent this on Facebook. These are the years when the elderly need medical coverage, and many live on Social Security. What will happen to us under this new plan? Now, Speaker Gingrich, folks obviously over 65 are still protected by Medicare, but if you're 55 to 64, aren't you going to pay more under this new House plan?
You may pay somewhat more, but the fact is the Obamacare system's collapsing. They just announced in Maryland a 50% rate increase next year. There are no plans left in Knoxville, Kentucky. In 94 of the 99 counties of Iowa, there are no plans left. I mean, people can yell about pre-existing conditions. If you can't get any insurance, you have no coverage for any condition. This is an effort to try to get the program to survive, to make sure we can offer insurance for everybody.
Let me bring you in, Congresswoman Harman. First of all, your reaction to what Speaker Gingrich said, and secondly, what's your biggest concern about this House bill?
Well, I was in the House when Obamacare passed. I voted for it. It passed on a totally party line vote, as this version did, and we're just trading bad for bad. Why don't we think about American health care, not Republican health care or Obamacare? And my reaction is that this got Reince Priebus, who did a very good job on your show, and Paul Ryan over the goal line, but it's going to be a do-over in the Senate, and it's not going to look anything like the House bill if it even passes the Senate.
But do you agree with the Speaker that Obamacare is collapsing?
I agree that there are issues with Obamacare, and part of that is that the bill that passed the Congress didn't resemble what we did in committee on a bipartisan basis. And we've just repeated the same movie by having a bill that didn't go through committee, that isn't scored by CBO, and that came out just as a leadership, in my view, press release.
Okay, let's pivot a little bit to the politics of all this. There was a good deal of pushback to the optics. Take a look at this picture of the president's victory celebration with House Republicans in the Rose Garden. And if that wasn't enough, Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell announced his working group on health care reform. And if you notice something all of those people have in common, it's 13 white men. Brit? First of all, what do you think of the pushback and the concern about that? And secondly, what about this argument that this is going to be as big a political burden for Republicans in 2018 as it was for Democrats, who lost more than 60 seats in the House in 2010?
First of all, I'd say that this whole health insurance issue is not a racial issue. The second thing I'd say about that is that all of these claims about the political damage that will be incurred by the Republicans because of this are ridiculously premature. We are not halfway to enactment of this. We're about a quarter of the way. After all, the Senate will now have to pass a bill. Then the differences between them will have to be composed. And then the final product will have to go back to both the House and the Senate. You can make an argument that we're a fifth of the way. And what we ultimately see is likely to be quite different from what we see now.
What you've got in front of you.
I understand that, but you can't act as if it's already passed and start lining up and making estimates of the number of people who are going to be, quote, hurt by it, particularly when people's grasp of what's actually in the bill seems so tenuous at best. So this is all way too soon.
Juan?
You remember, next year, 2018, key midterm elections, nobody's going to act, really, once you get past the end of this year on such a controversial bill. Just think about the advertisements. The advertisements are going to say, Congressman Y, a Republican, voted to take 24 million people off of health insurance and to increase remember, seniors more likely to turn out in midterms, to increase your premiums and costs for health care, including prescription drugs. These are devastating ads. So yeah, it's a little bit early in the process, but nonetheless, they voted for this bill. It's right in front of us for all to see.
I want to switch to another political subject, Speaker Gingrich, and that is we got a French election. As we're sitting here right now, they are still voting in France, but you've got the far right-wing candidate, Marine Le Pen, against the establishment, more moderate candidate, Emmanuel Macron. For those of us who haven't been following the primaries in Lyon or Marseille, what's at stake for the United States in this election? Well,
I mean, it's a very big election. My guess is Macron is going to survive. But Le Pen will be bigger than she ever has been before, and she may well win the next election. I do think there's a pattern building here. Remember, if you're
But let's assume Macron wins or Le Pen wins. What does that mean for America?
If Macron wins, you have decay as usual, politics as usual, unemployment as usual, explanations of violence as usual, and people just get more disaffected. But for the short run, the European Union survives, the Euro survives, etc. If Le Pen wins, you have a break that is at least as big as Brexit, and you have suddenly a France that is cutting loose from its relationship with Germany and cutting loose from its ties with Brussels. I don't think she will win, but I think she'll probably get over 40% of the vote. Her father got 12% the first time he was on the ballot. So it keeps growing, and there's a very single fact. If you are a French young person, you are 3 times as likely to be unemployed as if you're a German young person. Right at that border. Germans are figuring out a way to have the economy work. French socialism is collapsing. That ain't going to change under Macron, and that's why, in the long run, it's a vote for decay to vote for Macron.
Congresswoman.
Guess what? I agree with Newt. I'm saying it here, fair and balanced, but also a couple of more points. Unemployment in France is 10%. Unemployment in French youth is 23%. It's staggering. And whatever happens in this election, it's going to further isolate Angela Merkel, who, in my mind, is the moderate, stable voice in Europe. And one other point, Chris, and that is this huge data dump, 9 gigabits of data on an alt-right
that Macron's files were hacked on Friday, just 2 days before the election.
Right, and it was released just an hour before the blackout in terms of their election coverage. I mean, we don't know who did this. Circumstantially, it could be the Russians, and the Russians are probably playing in Germany, too. And this is really scary for the U.S. to have this kind of meltdown in European politics that does affect us.
All right. We have to take a break here.